Wake up, wake up. Up and wake, up and wake, up and wake, up and wake. Wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Up and wake, up and wake, up and wake. Good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sabbath in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you for everybody for tuning in to the Wake Up Show. I want to give first all glory to the Father in the mighty name of Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah, whatever you want to call him. I call him Jesus. We on one accord. Again, welcome to the Wake Up Show. I'm Brother Isaac K. Fingers. And as you can tell from the title of this lesson, this is interracial marriage or interspiritual marriage. Which one does God really hate? And this is part 2. All right. There will be a part 3. I'm not going to get all this done. So there will be a part 3. So tune in next week and we're going to get part 3 done as well. Before we get started, let's go ahead and open up with Isaiah 28 comers for new flesh people. And we're going to open up at Isaiah 28 verse 9. This is how we teach. This is how we learn. All right. From the Lord and for each other. All right. Let me get these off. So everything. Isaiah 28 verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Who is the he? He is the Lord. How's he teaching knowledge to his people? Who and make them understand the doctrine. All right. This is what Israel was chosen to do. That's it. Chosen to know the secrets and the oracles of God and to go out and teach the rest of the world. That's it. Let's keep reading. Verse 10, for precept must be upon precept, precept on precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Precept or a scripture must be accompanied with another scripture, whether it be line upon line or here a little and there a little. Now, if anyone ever sits up and says you can't do that, they're a liar. There are people who will take some one-liners or one scriptures and take it out of context. But see, this is where when you study and show yourself approved, you can understand dudes out of context. I think I've showed that last week with Deuteronomy 7 and verse 3, where everyone likes to just read, can't make marriages with other people, but they don't read it in context. With verse 1, starting at verse 1 when it's talking about 7 nations. So for precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. He's telling us it's not just going to be in Hebrew that I'm going to speak to my people, because he already told us in Deuteronomy 28, he was going to scatter us to the 4 corners as slaves. When he did that, we learned other people's languages and customs, and now he's speaking back to us in those same languages. So, but if you want to learn Hebrew, I don't have a problem with that. If you want to learn Hebrew, there's nothing wrong with that. But once you learn it, don't turn around and say no one else can understand what the Lord is really saying, because it's not in they don't know Hebrew. God is not a vain God. He's not going to put people in a fire because they didn't learn Hebrew. If no one learned Hebrew, how's anyone? Repentance means nothing. Let's go to Isaiah 8. So he's teaching us in other languages, and then those that teach must teach this way. Isaiah 8 and 16. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. Who are the Lord's disciples? His chosen people to teach the rest of the world. That's you. Learn this book and teach others. Each one teach one, you might just reach one. Skip to verse 20. This is how we're supposed to teach. To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So if they're not using the law and the testimony from Genesis to Revelation, there's no light in them. If they only Old Testament scholars and they don't deal with the new, there's no light in them. If they're only trying to deal with the new and not with the old, there's no light in them. There has to be a balance. Let me show you how that balance shows out at the end of days. Let's go to Revelation 14, I'm sorry. And then we're going to get into this lesson. Revelation 14 and verse 12. Here are the patience of the saints. So if you want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in, this is what you have to do in order to be a saint. Here are they that keep the commandments of God. So if anyone's telling you you don't have to keep the commandments and laws and statutes of God, they're trying to stop you from being a saint. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So you got to have both. And Jesus tells you in his ministry to keep the commandments of God. So let's go ahead. Now that we got that out the way, let's go to Numbers 31. Numbers 31, everybody. Now, in part 1 of this lesson, I showed how people take Deuteronomy 7, verse 3, way out of context. How they love to use, you can't make marriages with them, but don't point out that the them is 7 nations at the top of the paragraph. All right, the top of the chapter. And what people will do is they'll put up pictures of black and white people married together and tell you you're not supposed to do this. Already showed you in part 1, that's not the case. He was talking about these 7 nations that they were going into the land at that time. Then we got to the things that those nations were doing while the Lord did not want us to marry them. Then we got to even Israel. Now, Israel learned some things from the Egyptians, and he told us not to do them no more. But he also said, if someone within Israel tries to entice you to go serve other gods, kill them. Because all this is about spirituality. All right. Then we got to, Deuteronomy 23, when we read about the Ammonites and the Moabites, who the Lord did not want us to deal with because they tried to kill us. All right. So that was 2 other nations added. That's 9 nations. Then we got to King Solomon, and we added 2 more nations along with it, which was the Edomites, which is questionable, and the Egyptians, because these were some of the women, and then 2 of the 7 was a part of it too in 1 Kings. And these were the women that the Lord said not to marry because they will turn you away from me. That's the whole point. Then we got into Ezra, we got into Nehemiah about the children and the wives. When they discovered we married the same people we were not supposed to marry, that was in the law of Deuteronomy 7, the whole chapter. It wasn't about the whole world. It was about those nations. So, and then at the end of the lesson, we talk about how the strangers will inherit the land with us when we go through, come into the land and have children. All right. So go back, watch part 1. Let's get on this part 2. Let's start with Numbers 31. Numbers 31. And I'm going to start reading it, verse 1, because I want to point out one more thing. I didn't have time to do it last week, but I'm going to do it this week. Numbers 31 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against. Let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Okay, let's skip down to verse 7. And they warred against the Midianites, and the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. Skip down to verse 9. Yep, skip down to verse 9. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives and their little ones, and took the spoil of their cattle, and took their flocks, and took their goods. Now, Eleazar the priest brought this all unto Moses, and Moses was a little bit upset about it. And here's why. Skip down to verse 15. And Moses said unto them, Have ye saved all the women alive? 16. Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. So he's like, you saved all the women? The women are the reason why the children of Israel went against the Lord. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones. Side note, children, we even killed children. I got a lesson called, Is Christ a respecter of children? Parents, you need to let your children go watch that, because I have shown that the Lord don't care if you are, what age you are. If you out of order, he will have you killed too. And then there's innocent kids that get killed, whatever their judgment day is, that whatever goes on their judgment day, that's on them. I can't say if they getting in or getting out, but I'm just showing children were killed too. All right. Verse 17 again. Now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. Now, Moses is specifically saying among these Midianite women that are not Israel, kill the ones who are not virgins. Kill the ones who have had sex with a man and or had children. Verse 18, but all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. The who? The women children. So all of the women were killed except the females that were virgins. And for what? Keep alive for yourselves. Remember, the Midianites are Ishmaelites, not Israelites. The grown women already had their own mindset about their God. The young children who are females don't. So what do? You teach them as they grow older, then you marry them. This is in the law. This is Numbers. If you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. Let's go on now to Joshua. Let's go to Joshua, because what we're going to read now, is where there have been people that have read about or have said, listen, not only we can't marry outside of Israel, but we can't even marry outside of our own tribe. Now, we're going to read where people read to say you can't marry outside your own tribe. And we're going to see the reason and also who can't marry outside their own tribe. So let's go to Joshua, verse 17. There was also a lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph. That is, for Mashir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war. Therefore, he had Gilead and Bashan. Just a second. And Bashan. Verse 2. There was also a lot for the rest of the children of Manasseh by their families, for the children of Abiezer, and for the children of Helek, and for the children of Asriel, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Heifer, I don't know, and for the children of Shemitah. These were the male children of Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, by their families. Now let's understand something. When it came to inheritance, this was talking about the land. And all the males owned the land in whatever tribe they were in. So we're reading about Manasseh's firstborns and their inheritance of their land. Now let's go to verse 3. But Zelophehad, I can never say his name right, but Zelophehad, the son of Heifer, the son of Gilead, the son of Mashir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, but daughters. So Zelophehad had no sons. He only had daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Mahli and Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they came before Eleazar the priest, and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the princes, saying, the Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brethren. Therefore, according to the commandment of the Lord, he gave them an inheritance among the brethren of their father. Inheritance is a piece of the land. Okay? Piece of the land. Now, they went before and said, hey, we don't have, they're coming now talking about, hey, the Lord commanded Moses to give us inheritance among our brethren. Well, let's go read what this is at. Let's go to Numbers 26. It was time for some land to be given, but there was an issue because all the males are the ones who owned the land. But this man had no sons. He had daughters. All right. So Numbers 26, we're going to start reading at verse 33. And Zelophehad had a son, Heifer, had no son. Oh, the son of Heifer had no sons, but daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Mahli, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And these are the families of Manasseh, and those that were numbered with them, 50 and 2,700. So we read back here in Numbers again. Zelophehad had no sons, and we just read he had 5 daughters. All right, skip down to verse 52. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, now this is the Lord speaking unto Moses. All right. Verse 53. Unto these the land shall be divided for an inheritance. So the inheritance is about the land. Unto these the land shall be divided for an inheritance, according to the number of the names. To many thou shalt give more inheritance, and to few thou shalt give less inheritance. To everyone shall his inheritance be given according to those that were numbered of him. Withstanding, the land shall be divided by lot. According to the names of the tribes of their fathers, they shall inherit. According to the lot shall the possession thereof be divided between many and few. So if you had a large family, you got a big piece of land. You had a small family, you had a small piece of land. According to the numbers, and it's about your tribe. Okay? Let's keep on going. Let's go to Numbers 27. Just right on to the next one. Verse 1. Then came the daughters of why can't I say this dude's name right? Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. And these are the names of his daughters: Milah, Noah, Haglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moses and before Eleazar the priest. Now these daughters of Zelophehad, they came before Moses and Eleazar the priest, and before the princes of all the congregation by the door of the tabernacle, and the congregation saying, our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord in the company of Korah, but died on his own sin and had no sons. Make sure we keep reading. Yeah. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he hath no son? Give unto us therefore a possession among of the brethren of our father. And Moses brought their case before the Lord. So they're saying, hey, we know all the men keep the land for an inheritance, and the name travels through that. But our father died in the wilderness, all on his own sins, not because of the sins of the people. And he had no sons, but he got this land. What's going to happen now? Because there's only us. These are the daughters. And Moses brought the case before the Lord. Verse 6. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, the daughters of Zelophehad speak right. They came to Moses and said, listen, this is a problem. And the Lord is saying, yes, they speak right. I got an answer. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of the inheritance among their father's brethren. So they get land, but it has to be within their father's brethren. So whatever tribe they came out, and this was Manasseh, that's where they were at. This was Manasseh. All right. And thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. So now these sisters get the land that their father possessed. We're going to keep reading. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a man die and have no son, then ye shall cause his inheritance, his land, to pass unto his daughters. So the land now, he had no sons, he had 5 daughters. Whatever land he had goes now to his daughters. Okay? And if he have no daughter, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. So now, if he had no kids, because if he ain't got no sons, he ain't have no daughters, he ain't have no children. So now it goes to his brother. All right. And if he have no brethren, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. So now, if his father didn't have no brothers and he dies, it has to go to his father's brother, which would be his uncle. And if his father have no brethren, ye shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman that is next to him of his family, and he shall possess it. It shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as the Lord commanded Moses. So what we notice is that whatever piece of land, the inheritance, it has to stay with that tribe. No matter how, if there's nobody, it has to stay with that tribe. Not with the nation of Israel, with the tribe. All right. Where are we at? Verse, I lost myself. 27. Okay. I read past, but I'm glad I read past because we needed to get that clarity. Inheritance is about the land. If a man has no sons and he has daughters, we've read where the daughters get the land. Let's go to Numbers 36. Let's go straight over to Numbers 36, because this is going to be the chapter that everyone's going to say, see, you can't marry outside your own tribe either. Numbers 36, verse 1. We're basically reading this whole chapter. All right. And the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Mashir, the son of Manasseh, the families of the son of Joseph, came near and spake before Moses and before the princes of the chief fathers of the children of Israel. Now, remember when we read in Joseph, where they came to Joseph about their land, their inheritance? Here it is. We already read what the Lord said. If these women don't have no brothers, it goes to them. All right. Verse 2. And they said, the Lord commanded my Lord to give the land for the inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the inheritance of Zephaliah, our brother, unto his daughters. They're reminding him this is what's supposed to happen. And if they be married to any sons other than the tribes of the children of Israel, then their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put into the inheritance of the tribe. So now we know this is something different now. Of the tribe wherein they are received, so shall it be taken from the lot of our inheritance. So what they're saying now is, listen, this lot that these women have, it belongs to us. It belongs to us and from our fathers all the way back to Manasseh. What if they marry somebody else outside the tribe? That lot is not going to belong to us and our fathers anymore. It's going to belong to that other tribe. Verse 4. And when the jubilee of the children of Israel shall be, then shall their inheritance be put unto the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they received. So shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. So let's just say this is Manasseh. Let's say Judah goes and the daughter of Manasseh marries a man from Judah. All right. That lot is his. He's all the way in Judea, but that lot up there in Manasseh is his. And when Jubilee come, he can come and get it. His family. Verse 5. And Moses commanded the children of Israel according to the word of the Lord, saying, the tribe of the sons of Joseph hath said well. And this thing which the Lord doth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. See, people have gone to this chapter and they say, see, not only you can't marry outside of Israel, but you can't even marry outside your tribe. And my question has always been, what tribe are you from? And what tribe is your husband from? Or your wife? And you don't know. As much as people want to try, everybody is guesstimating. We know we Israel from these curses. But to be honest, a lot of people are guesstimating. And I'm just talking about here in the new world as far as the Americas. A lot tradition of our brothers in Africa, they know. But here we were scattered. Now we can, people like to guess between Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. But we were scattered. Them ships hopped all over the coast of Africa, and they hopped all over the coast of North, South America, and the islands. Which shows that 12 tribes chart is a bunch of garbage too. And even the people that made it up confessed it's a bunch of garbage. Side note. But still, people go here and try to say, hey, you can't even marry outside your tribe. That's not what the Lord is saying in this chapter. Read it in its context. That's why we're reading the whole chapter. So we stopped at verse 6, right? Let's read verse 6 again. This is the thing which the Lord hath doth commanded concerning the daughters of Gilead, saying, now this is the Lord speaking, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. And every daughter that possesseth an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father that inherit the children of Israel. I'm sorry, that the children of Israel may enjoy every man the inheritance of his fathers. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance. Thus saith the Lord. The Lord did not want, he already divided up the land on what tribe had how much land. Now, brothers can marry outside the tribe because their wife is coming to them on their land. But the women couldn't marry outside the tribe because whoever they marry outside the tribe can claim their land within another tribe. And the Lord did not want that to happen because, one, that will cause wars. That's confusion now. No, man, I married her, man. That's my land. But then the surrounding people in that tribe getting upset. Lord knows best. Father knows best. Verse 10. Even as the Lord commanded Moses, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahli, Tirzah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married unto their father's brothers' sons. So they married their cousins, or not really their cousins, but their fathers, which was the tribe of Manasseh, or the tribe of Joseph, but Manasseh's side. They married within their tribe. So the land would not go to another tribe. Verse 12, and they were married unto the families of the sons of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of the family of their father. These are the commandments and the judgments which the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses unto the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho. This is what this is all about. It's about the land. People have came to this chapter and said, you can't even marry outside your own tribe. That is not the case. Women could not marry outside of their tribe, only if they owned land. That's it. Women, if there were women who didn't own land because they had brothers who owned land, if Judah came to Manasseh, said, I like her, I want her to be my wife, she can marry and go to Judah. Now she's going over there, and all Judah's seeds gonna be Judah. But if she owns land, she can't marry outside the tribe. She can only marry within the tribe because of the land, people. Let's get this anger off of our hearts because we messed up and the Lord allowed other nations to go upside our head. Once you get this through your mind, I just believe the Lord will clear up a lot of things for you that you've been hearing and learning from other Hebrews. This has nothing to do with you not allowed to marry outside your tribe. This is all about the land. And the only people that could not marry outside of their tribe, not even outside of Israel, were women who owned land because they had no brothers and their father died. Case closed. Case closed. Now let's get to some individuals. Let's go to Exodus 2. Let's get to individuals now. Let's get to Exodus 2 now. Let's look at individuals who married outside because, again, I've seen some videos and people have said some of the wildest things about things we're about to read. So let's go to Exodus 2. We're going to start at verse 21. Now, this is Moses. This is when Moses fled Egypt, not kicked out, according to the Ten Commandments movie. When he found out, when he knew that everybody knew who he was, and he found out that his supposedly granddaddy, who was Pharaoh, which really wasn't his granddaddy, was sought to kill him, he fled. All right. And when he fled, let's check something out. Exodus 2, verse 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. Now, this was, I believe, was a Jethro, right? This was a man of Midian, and he had daughters. And y'all know the story that he came to the well and he fought off these people and the daughters. Now, this man, and they thought he was an Egyptian because he had on an Egyptian garment, but he was just as black as the Egyptians. And it said Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter, and she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. So Moses was a stranger in this land, right? However, who was Zipporah? A Midianite. What was Midianites? Ishmaelites. They're not Arabs. They're not Israel. Are they? All the Israelites were in Egypt, right? So all the Israelites were in Egypt. He left, ran away, and he married Zipporah, who was not an Israelite. Let's go to Exodus 4. Exodus 4. Now, if God had a problem with this marriage, why in the world did this happen? Exodus 4, verse 19. Exodus 4, verse 19. Now, this is when the Lord is speaking with Moses. He showed him how, he showed him his wonders, with the snake, with the leprosy in the hand and all that. So now he's telling Moses to go into Egypt, right? Let's start at verse 19 and read. And the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, Go, return unto Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt, and Moses took the rod of God in his hand. Let's skip down to verse 24. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Whoa. All of a sudden, the Lord tells Moses, go to Egypt, and I need you to speak to Pharaoh. I'm going to have you and your brother speak to Pharaoh and tell them, let my people go. Let my son go that he may serve me. But on the way, it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. That don't make sense. The Lord's sending you to Egypt, but on the way there, he's ready to kill you. Let's see why he was ready to kill him. Then verse 25, then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband thou art to me. Wait a minute. Zipporah did that? You mean to tell me that this outside Israelite, this Ishmaelite, that Zipporah, hold on, I'm trying to mark my spot. Let me see. Okay. Zipporah knew about the circumcision? Yes, she did. My question was always, how did Zipporah know about the circumcision if I've been taught all this time the circumcision only stayed with Israel? Well, when you read, where did the circumcision start? It started with Abraham. Who was Abraham's first physical son? Ishmael. When was Ishmael circumcised? I think it was around the age of 12 or 13. At 8 days. Well, he was old, but everybody else after that was 8 days old. So Ishmael was circumcising too. And let's not forget our twin brother Edom. Don't know when it stops for them, but this was something that was a covenant, and other nations did it too. And also remember, Abraham had more sons and daughters with Keturah. So she knew about this, but this wasn't an Israelite. And this was a woman who saved Moses' life. Read verse 25. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband thou art to me. So he let him go. Who is the he? The Lord. Lord was about to kill this dude because you already knew Moses. You've been knowing you were Hebrew all your life. When they found you, Pharaoh's daughter looked down and knew you was a Hebrew. Why? Because she opened it up, said, oh, this is a boy. Oh, he's circumcised. This is one of the Hebrews' children. So you knew about this circumcision, Moses, and didn't do nothing. And he was about to kill him, and his wife from another nation saved his life. Let's go to Numbers. Let's go to Numbers 12. And let me add this in here too. No, I'm going to add it in after I get done with this one. Because again, there's a lot of people that like to say, well, still, let's listen. Let's read. I ain't going to add myself in. I'm going to read. Numbers 12. Let's start reading at verse 1. Numbers 12. And start reading at verse. No, I don't want to read all of this. Hold on a sec. I must have marked this down wrong. No, I don't want to read all of that. Let me see. Oh, yes, I do. I'm in Exodus 12. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. Let me get the numbers. I'm in Exodus 12. I'm like, this don't look right to me. Numbers 12. Again, happy Sabbath to everybody tuning in. This is interracial versus interspiritual marriage, part 2. Which one does God really hate? And let's always keep in mind, even though people like to start at Deuteronomy 7, the Lord showed us his spirit in Genesis 6, when the sons of God, the daughters of men, that's where it all started. And that's what it's all about. So now let's go to Numbers 12 in verse 1. All right. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. Wait a minute, this ain't Zipporah. This is not Zipporah. Zipporah was a Midianite woman. So this is another wife he got. Read the book and you'll find out what happened with Zipporah. I'm not going to get all into that because I see how much time I got left. Verse 2, and they said, hath the Lord spoken unto Moses? For he hath not spoken by us. And the Lord heard it. And now that the man Moses was very, Moses was very meek, which means humble, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. The most humblest brother on the earth served the Lord. But somebody was like, has he only spoken to him? He ain't spoken to me. About you, Aaron. He ain't spoken. Let's keep reading. Verse 4. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses and to Aaron and unto Miriam, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they came out, and the Lord came down from a pillar of the cloud and stood at the door of the tabernacle. And Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, this is the Lord speaking, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak to him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him I will speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? A lot of brothers and sisters need to chill when they see a couple that's two different nations. Because right here, the Lord didn't have a problem with this Ethiopian woman. And let's also remember something else. It wasn't like there wasn't a variety of Israelite women, because some people like to use that. Well, see, the only reason the Lord allowed our forefathers to marry Africans or outside of Israel is because there wasn't no Israelite women. How many men came up out of Israel? 600,000. So there was more women than that. There was plenty women for Moses to marry. But he married an Ethiopian woman. What's the Ethiopian woman? A Hamite. Where did he get this Ethiopian woman from? The mixed multitude that came out with this, because they saw the wonderful works of God and they chose to drop their gods and follow God. That's why. Verse 9, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. So the Lord was upset with Miriam and Aaron. Why he got all these women here in the congregation, he got to go get one of them outside heathens. And the Lord was like, shut your face. Verse 10, and the cloud departed off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous as white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and she was as white as snow. She was leprous. because she talked about somebody else. She talked about her brother marrying somebody outside the nation of Israel. Y'all better be careful. Verse 14. Skip down to verse 14. And the Lord said unto Moses, if her father had put spit in, you know what, let's just keep reading. I know I skipped it, but let's keep reading. Verse 11. And Aaron said unto Moses, Elias, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he is coming out of the mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. And Moses said, and the Lord said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days. And after that, let her be received again. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days. And the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward, the people were moved from Hazeroth and pitched in the wilderness of Paran. Now, Lord was upset with her talking about his servant. And as we see, the Lord did not have a problem with the Ethiopian woman when there was plenty Israelite women around. That was the second time the Lord allowed Moses, of all people, to marry somebody outside of Israel, because the seed stays with the man. And it's not even that. Like we read in Genesis 6, it's about my spirit will not always strive with man because of the daughters of men. That's all we've been reading about. That's all we've been reading about. Let's go to Leviticus 24. Let's flip it over. Leviticus 24. Let's flip it over now. And I even heard this one dude of a leader of a camp saying, see, God allowed that for Moses, but that wasn't for you. That's respect of persons now. That's respect of persons. Because that's not what this is all about. This is about who is going to turn away his sons from God. That's what this is about. If that God does not have a problem with what we call now interracial marriage, he has a problem with if you marry someone else that's going to serve another God, because they may turn you away from me, and now he's going to be mad at you. Forgot where I said Leviticus. Yeah, Leviticus 24. That's right. Leviticus 24. So yeah, there will be a part 3 to this. Probably a part 4. Because actually everything I'm doing was supposed to be done in 2 hours. The last one and this. And it's not happening. But it needs to be done. Leviticus 24. We're going to start reading at verse 10. And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian. Let's start that verse again. And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian. So we got a boy here now, whose mama was Israel, but the father was Egyptian. How did that happen? Well, we came up out the land of Israel, Egypt, mixed multitude. That's where this Egyptian man is from. He left his gods and he followed God. The son of the Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel. And this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp. Let me make sure I don't overread. Okay. Strove together in the camp. And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And they brought him unto Moses, and his mother's name was Shelemith, and the daughter of Dibri of the tribe of Dan. And they put him inward. They put him in prison. They locked him up, that the mind of the Lord might be shown to them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, whosoever curseth his God shall bear his sin. I have heard people use this story and say, see, the child was like that because that woman married an Egyptian. And you know, them Egyptians, they served other gods. That's not the case, because this Egyptian man left his gods. He learned about God and he married an Israelitish woman. The son is the one who blasphemed and cursed God, all on his own. Not because that's what's just in their genetics. That's just what this boy did, because Israel children did the same thing and they were stoned. Quit trying to make up excuses, brothers and sisters. Verse 16, and that's why the Lord said at the end of 15, whosoever curseth his God shall bear his sin. Verse 16, and he that blasphemed the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death, and all the congregation shall certainly stone him, as well as the stranger, as he that is born in the land, when he blasphemeth the name of the Lord, shall be put to death. So the mixed multitude was among us, and whoever blasphemed the name of the Lord was put to death, regardless where they came from, because spiritually they were all supposed to be in the same place. This boy wanted to be a rebel, and he got killed for it. But the top of verse 10 is an Israelitish woman and an Egyptian man. No problem. God did not punish anybody because this was what we call now interracial marriage. And this was a black on black marriage. Judges 21. Judges 21. Let's go and read about something real quick, because again, and let me tell y'all, I was going to use Samson, but we know the story of Samson. He married, he was messing around with them other women. Now, he told a secret he shouldn't have told, because he put his trust in the woman that much. Not because he was killed because he was messing around with Delilah and she was, nah. He opened his mouth. The book even tells us some things you shouldn't even tell your wife. That's what the book say. Judges 21. Some things you need to keep to yourself. Now, again, Judges 21. I witnessed a brother read this, trying to justify. Let me see. Let me make sure I got it. I'm in the wrong book again. Oh, I'm in the wrong book. Judges 21. Now, as I was doing research and checking out other people's videos, there's this one brother who was saying he read this and he was trying to point out. Now, what we're going to do is right after this, we go into the book of Ruth. For everybody, we're going to the book of Ruth, but I'm coming here because this brother tried to read this first to justify something in Ruth. So Judges 21 in the last verse, 25. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. All right. So this is going to be used in the book of Ruth. Let's go to the book of Ruth now. That's going to be used that, see, those men were breaking the law because every man did what he felt was right. And when you read the book of Judges, yeah, they were breaking the law back to back to back all the time and crying out to the Lord, oh, please help me. And he came back again, right? Helped them out. But what we're going to read now is the book of Ruth. And remember, from what this other brother's saying, there was no law in the land. We also know the Lord had put a famine in the land because of what they were doing. But let's read the book of Ruth. Ruth 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. And certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. Now, in the name, verse 2, in the name of the man was Amalek, and the name of his wife, Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion, I guess. Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judea. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. Why did they go to the country of Moab? Because at the beginning it said there was a famine in the land. All right. Okay, I usually don't do this, but I just want to address, looks like Sister Sakina Salam. When I'm done with this lesson, go to the beginning. I dealt with that. When it comes to daughters couldn't marry outside, it was all about the land, and it was only if the daughters owned land. But when I'm done with this lesson, go back and watch it. It'll clear it all up for you. Let's get back to Ruth, though. Verse 2. I try not to read stuff because then it'll throw me off. So, again, I apologize to everybody on Facebook, on Periscope, on YouTube. If you type up some stuff and it looks like I'm ignoring you, yeah, I am, because I'm trying to stick with the scripts, okay? But I saw that and was like, okay, I got to say something. So verse 2, in the name of, I read those already. Now, verse 3, and Amalek, Naomi's husband, died. So they went to the land of Moab, and Naomi's husband died. He just died. He wasn't killed for anything. He just died, right? And she was left and her 2 sons, and they took them wives of the women of Moab. Now, in the first lesson, we did read where the Lord said, don't go to the women, don't mess with the women of Moab. That's in the law. Let's keep reading. And the name of one was Orpah, and the name of the other was Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died, also both of them. Now, it's been said, oh, they were killed because they married these Moabite women. Doesn't say that. The Lord specifically says when he wants someone dead, he gives the reason why. See, people throwing their own little whatever into it. It says that these 2 brothers died, also both of them. That was it. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard in the country of Moab how the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. Let's skip down to verse 10. And they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. And Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will ye go with me? Are there ye not any more sons in my womb that they may be your husbands? So obviously, Naomi was old. And she's like, ain't no more sons coming up out of me. And even if it was, y'all probably be old, and then they would be your age, and they still gonna probably get some other women. Who knows? But the thing is, they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. All right. Skip to verse 14. And they lifted up their voice and wept again, because Naomi steady trying to tell them, stay here with your people. And they lifted up their voice again and wept. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. So she kept telling them, stay here, stay here. Orpah gave her a kiss and left. She left. She's like, all right, I'll stay here. Verse 15. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law has gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Let's read that again, people. Verse 15. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law has gone back to her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. But what did Ruth say? And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go. And where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. This is the exact same thing that the mixed multitude did when they came out of Egypt with the people. They basically did the same thing. We know the real God of Israel. He done told his whole place up. Let your people be my people, and let your God be my God. But remember, she's a Moabite. Now you gonna hear Hebrews trying to sit up and be like, no, man, she is a Israelite. And I forgot what chapter. They gonna go someplace where it talks about how Israel went in there and slaughtered everybody in the land. But evidently, they did not slaughter everybody. Because if they did, and you're saying she's an Israelite, then why, some of my One West brothers, are you claiming that the Chinese are Moabites? So come on, let's stop with that foolishness. This is a Moabite woman. Quit trying to justify. And we're gonna get into the bloodline to show that she's not an Israelite. All right. But what did she say here? She said, let thy God be my God. But her sister went back to her people and her gods. So basically, what did Ruth do? Forget my gods. Forget my people. Y'all the way. I'm coming to live with you and your God. That's repentance. Repentance didn't start in Matthew with Jesus. It started all the way in Genesis with Jesus. Repentance for other people, other nations. Verse 17, where thou diest, I will die, and there will I be buried. And the Lord do so to me, and more also. It ought be death part thee and me. She loved her mother-in-law so much because she learned about God. Evidently, her sister didn't love God that much. So she wanted to stay with her God. Now remember, both of these sisters didn't see any miracles. They ain't see no types of miracles, but one believed and the other one didn't. It's all your choice. That's what Ruth did. She made a choice to serve the only true and living God. I was going to read Exodus 19, verse 7 and 8, but I've already explained it. So you can read it on your own. The children of Israel did the same thing. Let your God be our God. They left with us. So let's go to Ruth 2 and 1. Ruth chapter 2 and verse 1. And Naomi had a kinsman of the husbands of the mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. Now, let's get this clear. Yes, there is a law that if brothers die, that wife has to go to the next kin to raise up seed in the name of that brother. All right. We're going to do some reading. Verse 1 and 2. And Ruth, the Moabitess, the Lord is saying it again, the Moabitess, just like we read about the Israelitish woman. She was an Israelite. Ruth is a Moabite. Said unto the Naomi, let me now die to, I'm sorry. Let me now go to the field and glean ears from the corn after him, in whose sight I shall find thee grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. See, Ruth was trying to be seen. She wasn't trying to be seen in a hoish way either. Hope that didn't cut too many sisters. But she was trying to be seen because she had her eyes on somebody, right? Let's go to verse 5. Then Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? Oh, so Boaz noticed her, right? Yeah, sisters, you get noticed anyway. How do you want to get noticed? Do you want to dress in a certain way where the only way brothers notice you is like, ooh, yeah, let me try to get those digits? Or do you want to dress modestly where a real brother that wants a real wife is like, man, I dig her spirit. I want to holler at her. She's wife material. Choice is yours. Then Boaz said unto his servant that set over her, whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. So Boaz knew that she was a Moabite and not an Israelite, right? Skip down to verse 10. So he went, hollered at Ruth. Skip to verse 10. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, why have thou found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? So here's a strange woman, but she wasn't that strange, was she? Because she said before Ruth and before God, let your people be my people and let your God be my God. Let's keep reading. Verse 11. And Boaz answered and said unto her, it hath fully been shown me all that thou hast done unto thy mother in the law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore. The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Whoo! This Boaz. I heard everything that you done did, and you done came and you trust the Lord that much. This brother was like, this chick ain't gonna try to make me turn to her gods. She left her gods. Come on, game recognized game. So he marries her. He didn't have to. Yeah, he wanted some land and she had to become part of the deal. But listen, we gonna get to the core of this. Ruth 4, verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. Has this ever entered any of y'all's mind? She was married to Naomi's son for 10 years and ain't have no kids. She was married to an Israelite 10 years and had no kids. She comes back to the land. She denounces her gods, She denounces that other spirit. And Boaz took Ruth, she was his wife, and when he went unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. Who did that? The Lord did that. Let's see who the son was. Verse 21. And Salmon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. So you mean to tell me the royal seed came through an outside Israelite woman? I see all these Hebrews talking about, oh man, so you're going to dilute the seed. You can't dilute the seed. The seed is what it is. No matter what body it is, no matter what skin tone it is, it's still an Israelite seed. And it doesn't get diluted because it might be in a woman who's from another, that's interracial. It doesn't work like that. But the Lord is the one who kept this woman from having children for 10 years. Then she denies her other gods and she sticks with Israel. And the Lord takes the royal seed of Jesus through Ruth, who's a Moabitess, not an Israelite. No way you can tell me that it's about interracial marriage. It's about interspiritual marriage. Now, I mentioned Ruth, right? Let's go to Matthew 1. I mentioned Ruth. Let's mention some other women among this royal line, this royal seed. If the Lord didn't have a problem with this, why do you? Because it's not about interracial. It's about interspiritual. Matthew, verse 1. We're going to look at the lineage of Jesus, or the lineage of Christ. Because if God had a problem with just because they're from another nation, this would have not taken place. We're going to see not just Ruth, but 3 other women who were not Israelites, and that royal seed came through them. Let's start at the top. Matthew 1, verse 1. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. And Judas begot Pharez and Zerah of Tamar. Now, what you're going to notice, people, when you read this genealogy, you never will see the women of Israel. You're not going to see it. It tells you the lineage of the men, not the wife who the man came through. It tells you the lineage of the men. So every woman should be listed here. This should be 2-3 chapters. But it's only the lineage of the men, unless they were not Israelite women. Tamar was not an Israelite. She was a Canaanite. She was from the land. And Judas begot Pharez and Zerah of Tamar. And Pharez begot Esrom, and Esrom begot Aram. And Aram begot Aminadab, and Aminadab begot Naasson. And Naasson begot Salmon. Remember, this is all about the males, right? So we already see that royal seed came through one outside Israelite woman who was not Israelite, And And Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab. That is Rahab from Jericho. That's Rahab from Jericho. When we went in to go destroy Jericho, this is the whore who helped take down Jericho. Why? Because she said the same thing. When you read the story of Jericho, what is it, Joshua 6? She hid the spies. And when she hid the spies, her life was granted. Joshua said, save her and her family. And they dwelt among Israel. You ever wonder what happened after that? Here it is in the genealogy. And Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab, the harlot. The royal seed came through an ex-prostitute. Someone who saw, no, not even saw, heard, well, yeah, probably saw too, but heard. She told the spies, our men is scared of y'all because everybody heard what your God is doing in the whole land. And the men are so scared, they don't even want to fight. So she knew that whatever God they got, that's God. It's all about up here. It's all about repentance. One more time, verse 5. And Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab. And Boaz begot Obed of Ruth. Woo, of Ruth. And Obed begot Jesse. So wait a minute. Hold on. What happened to all that dilution of the seed? What happened to that? So you got Salmon who had Boaz from Rahab, right? So let's just say now he's half Israelite. Let's go on modern day thinking. So Boaz is half Israelite, half Canaanite. He decides to go marry Ruth. So now he's half Israelite and she ain't Israelite at all. So now what does the child supposedly come out? Like 1/4 Israel? Is that the dilution that you guys are talking about? This is 2 mixed marriages in a row. And Obed begot Jesse. Jesse begot David the king, and David the king begot Solomon of her that had been wife of Urias. Of who? Of her that had been wife of Urias. Who is Urias? Let's go back. Ooh, I didn't write it down. Did I write it down? Hold on. Yeah, I did. Now, before we go to 2 Samuel, you guys can go. 2 Samuel, verse 11. We've read 4 women in the royal line of Jesus or Christ that were not Israelites. And that seed came through them. 4 women: Tamar, Rahab the harlot, Ruth, and now we're going to find out who. Let's read 6 one more time. And Jesse begot David the king, right? And David the king begot Solomon. Who birthed Solomon? And it says of her that had been wife of Urias. So this means she's not an Israelite. Now let's go to 2 Samuel 11 and find out who that had been the wife of Urias, who it was. 2 Samuel 11. So, like I said, we got 4 women that's not in the line that let the seed of the royal seed of Christ come through them, and the Lord allowed it, right? So let's go to 2 Samuel, verse 3. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? Okay, so in Matthew 1, he did not say her name Bathsheba, but he said of her that was the wife of Uriah. Uriah was a Hittite, right? So if Uriah was a Hittite, his wife was a Hittite, because again, the Lord only mentioned the women who were not Israelites, right? And let me check something before I say it. Now, Uriah was a Hittite. His wife was a Hittite. But guess what? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 7. Because now we know that's Bathsheba. We know that the wife of Uriah the Hittite was Bathsheba, because Bathsheba is the one who had Solomon. That's the fourth woman that's not an Israelite. He was a Hittite. She was a Hittite. Back to Deuteronomy 7. Let's read again, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land where thou goest and possess, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites. Stop the presses. The Hittites? You mean to tell me that we weren't supposed to marry the Hittites? Obviously, Uriah, when you read the story of Uriah the Hittite, he fought for King David. He fought for, he left his old God and he fought for the God of Israel. This dude was so dedicated to the army, to David, and to the God of Israel. When he was brought back to the crib to sleep with his wife, because David had already slept with her and she was pregnant, he didn't even want to sleep with his wife. He wanted to stay out on the front lines with his boys. That's how dedicated this Hittite was to God. But it was forbidden, remember? It was forbidden. Let's go to Isaiah 56. It was forbidden for us to marry the Hittites. But the Hittite man said, let your God be my God, and I'm willing to fight for your God. And they were amongst Israel. So Bathsheba was a Hittite. She was not an Israelite. Because if she was an Israelite, the Lord wouldn't even have mentioned the wife of Uriah. This is where the Lord wants us to use our brains while we studying. But some people, you so clouded with your anger for not just white folks, but Esau, Ishmaelites. You so clouded by your anger that when you read something, you go, oh no, see, no. And the Lord's trying to show you something. Isaiah 56. Isaiah 56. If anybody from any other nation decides that they want to be a part of the Commonwealth of Israel and they decide to serve the real God of Israel, God has no problem with you marrying that person. He has no problem. He has a problem if you're going to marry someone who's going to take you away from him. That's what this is all about. Let's read Isaiah 56 and verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgments and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of the man that layeth hold on to it, and keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself unto the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. What did he say about the stranger again? The Lord has separated me from his people. No, he has not. You become a part of the Commonwealth of Israel, the Lord will accept you too. I've just showed you. That's what all these people did. They accepted the Lord, and the Lord did not have a problem with it. That's why the Lord went upside Miriam's head. Verse 6. One of the reasons why he went upside her head. Okay, let me rephrase that before I get a phone call. Verse 6. Also the sons of the stranger that joined themselves unto the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taking hold of my covenant. People don't want to keep the Sabbath. They say them laws is over with. That's another God. That's another spirit. That's another Christ. It's another gospel. You can't marry someone like that. You can if you want to. And again, I'm going to say it in this lesson too. I'm not telling those that are married that discovered the real truth about God to be like, okay, I got a divorce and let you go now because you ain't seeing what I'm seeing. No, you married, you made an oath, you made a promise. You can't get out of that. What you do is you pray for them. And then you still do what you're supposed to do for the Lord and demonstrate to them. Maybe they'll come around. But here it says anyone that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it. Verse 17, even them I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, and my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people, not just for Israel. He's going to accept their offerings and their sacrifices. They're not going to do it. That's the job of the Levites. That's the job of Israel. But their sacrifices and their offerings, he will accept them too. Let's go to Malachi 2. Malachi 2, because people are going to try to use this. I've tried to get every corner I could, but I got this so much evidence that even if somebody want to try to come up with one thing, you can't knock all the rest of this stuff. Malachi 2 and verse 10. Have we not all one Father? Has not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenant of our fathers? Judah hath dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah hath profaned the holiness of the Lord, which he hath loved. He hath married the daughters of a strange God. That's what Judah did wrong. That's what Israel was doing wrong all the time. Marrying daughters of a strange God. Now, if those daughters left the strange God, there was nothing wrong with that. That's why they were strangers. They didn't know God. God didn't know them. That does not mean you can't marry. You can't marry him unless they know God. And the same thing can be said about Israel. You marrying someone who don't know God. You better teach them first. If you like them that much, you better teach them. You better show them. And if they reject it, like I said, the next stuff that I'm going to be doing, it's called unequally yoked. My mistake you don't want to make. Trying to remember where that is. Not 24, but it said that Judah married Matthew 7. Let's get this definition out the way. Matthew 7. Judah married the daughters of a strange God, right? So everywhere we read where these daughters were strange wives, because they did not know God. But again, the same thing could happen within Israel too. You can marry a physical Israelite who don't know God, ain't trying to learn God, and they can be a stranger as well. Matthew 7, verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. What's the will of the Father? Keep the commandments. Obedience. Keeping the commandments is obedience. So if people were telling you you don't have to keep the commandments no more, they're being disobedient. But again, did we read where this is just for Israel? No, this is for everyone. Verse 22, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? Have we not cast out devils in thy name? And done many wonderful works? I'm going to tell y'all something. I used to read this all the time about Sunday worshiping Christians. Over the years, the Lord has showed me this is Israel too. Because Israel going to do things in Jesus' name. Israel going to also do things in the other names of Christ. They're going to claim they're doing all of this stuff. But what is the Lord going to say? Verse 23, and then I will profess to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So what do we teach our children? When you walk in, if you by yourself, who do you not talk to? Matter of fact, children, I need y'all to say it out loud. When we teach you not to talk to who? Strangers, right? Why? Because you don't know him, right? Same thing with Jesus. He don't know you. You a stranger. You could be Israel. You could be Gentile. You could be a Hamite. You could be any nation. If he don't know you, you are a stranger. Because right here, he said, I never knew you. Let's go back to the beginning again. Let's go read this one more time because I'm gonna end this and I'm gonna do part 3 next week. But I want to end it with the beginning, like I started the first one. Genesis 6. Let's read who strangers are. Genesis 6. Genesis 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when the men began to multiply on the face of the earth, that daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they looked upon them and took them wives, which they choose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Why did the Lord say his spirit ain't always going to strive with man? Because these sons of God, not angels, saw these beautiful women who didn't serve God. Remember, the whole place was violent. And these sons of God saw those daughters of men, and he knew they're going to get with them and they're going to start turning away from me. They're going to start turning away from me. That's what thus saith the Lord. This is what this whole thing is about. It ain't got nothing to do with color of skin. Ain't got to do with nationality. It does have to do with customs. And if whoever you want to marry continues to keep a custom that's against God, God's saying don't do that, because then you're going to mess around, get with that custom, and start going against me. And that's when we're going to have issues. That's where we're going to have problems. And that's where we had the problem with, I can't remember where it is. That's where we had the problem with King Solomon. King Solomon was the richest man that ever lived. Had all that money. But he gave in to his wives. And that's the problem. I got one more thing, but I don't think it's on my mind. And I think I'm close to it. I don't know. If I can't find it, I'll look for it later and I'll just do it in the next one. I hate when this happens. You know the book, but then you can't remember where something is. And I'm trying. Oh, where is that? Okay, let me go back in my notes in my Bible. Yeah, I got 15 more minutes. So let me go on my notes in my Bible and see if I can remember where it is. Because I want to read one more thing, because again, people are going to say different things, especially about what I just read, Genesis 6. So let me go back. Okay, let me see if that's it. See, I'm the type of person, I put notes in my Bible. I don't just write notes on paper all the time. I put it in my Bible too, just for situations like this. So just bear with me, people, because I feel the Spirit is telling me you have to deal with this. Thank you, Lord. Okay. This is going to be the last thing. Go to Luke 3. Everybody go to Luke 3, and then I'm going to be done. So from the very beginning, it said the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful. And he said, my spirit ain't always going to be with them, because the daughters, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and he already know these women going to turn my sons away from me. Now, a lot of people like to say, no, that was the angels. You can go in Job, and yeah, Job, the Lord said in Job that the sons of God, he was talking about those angels at that time. There's two sets of sons of God. There's the angels, and then there's us. Let's read Luke 3. Luke 3, we're going to start at okay, let's start at verse 21, and we're going to do some skipping. Now, when all the people were baptized, it came to pass that Jesus also being baptized and praying, the heaven was opened up, and the Holy Ghost descended in a bodily shape like a dove upon him. And a voice came from heaven, which said, Thou art my beloved Son, in thee am I well pleased. So he's the Son of God, right? Let's look at that lineage that we were talking about earlier. And Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli. Skip down to verse 31, which was the son of Mela, which was the son of Menah, which was the son of Mattatha, which was the son of Nathan, which was the son of David, which was the son of Jesse, which was the son of Obed, which was the son of Boaz, which was the son of Salmon, which was the son of Nason. Now, we went through that in the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew 1, right? And those men had wives outside of Israel. Skip down to keep reading. Verse 33, which was the son of Aminadab, which was the son of Aaron, which was the son of Esrom, which was the son of Perez, which was the son of Judah. Judah had who? Tamar, right? Tamar was outside and had Perez, or Perez, how you want to say it. 34, which was the son of Jacob, which was the son of Isaac, which was the son of Abraham, which was the son of Terah, which was the son of Nahor. Skip down to verse 33, which was the son of Canaan, which was the son of Oxfarad, which was the son of Shem. So now we're at the flood. We're going from Jesus back. All right. Now we're at the flood, which was the son of Noah, which was the son of Lamech, which was the son of Methuselah, which was the son of Enoch, which was the son of Jared, which was the son of Maliliel, which was the son of Cainan, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth. Remember in Genesis 5, it says, and then men began to call on the name of the Lord, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. So those sons in Genesis 6 are men not angels. So in the beginning, God looked at these sons that called on his name and knew the daughters of men were going to change them. And that's what this whole thing is about. Not marrying people who are going to try to get you away from the Lord. That's what this comes down to. So again, interracial versus interspiritual marriage. Which one does God really hate? I'm going to do part 3 next week. I thank y'all for tuning in. Please share the video. Go back, look at part 1. Come back, look at this again. It's plain as day. It's all over the book. The Lord has no problem with Israel marrying outside. He just does not want you to turn from him by doing so. You got to make sure whoever you're marrying must do the same thing you're doing, or eventually you're going to turn. You're going to start slacking here, slacking there. Like I said, when I do that lesson, Unequally Yoked, the mistake I made, I'm going to tell y'all about my marriage. I went through these things. And it's not to discredit my ex-wife either. But maybe that's why I went through it, so I could understand this right here. All right. So